Hey, what's going on, guys? So recently I got the Meike 25mm f1.8 manual lens for the Sony E-mount cameras, and I am loving it. Are you wanting your video to pop? Well, this lens might just be it. So I got this lens and I've been playing with it a bit. I've made a couple of videos using it, and now I'm just really wanting to dive in and do a little comparison between the kit lens I was using and the new lens that I got. Now, this retails in Canada for around $95 to $100. In America, I believe it's closer to $70 to $80. And I think that the value is just great. A lot of people have some disinterest in having a manual focus lens, but you know what? If you're doing a talking head like this, like you're doing a tech review or you're doing something where you're talking to the camera, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It might be a little finicky, but you know what? I'm not moving around that much, and there you can move a little bit, and it's not bad. So let's get into it and check it out. Now, if you haven't already, I am a pretty new channel, so if you hit that subscribe button down below, it helps a lot. So here I've got the two photos, one shot with the Meike 25mm at an aperture of 4.5, and that's on the left. On the right, I've got the Sony power zoom lens, and it is set at 25mm at f4.5. So I took a picture of this pineapple just to try and get some example of how the detail works in it, how they compare. So let's go ahead and take a quick look here. So just looking here, you can kind of see they look pretty similar. However, there's a little more detail up at the top here, a little more sharpness maybe. In the stem here, it looks pretty close. There might be a little more blur on the Meike here. It might just be the depth of field. So if we zoom on in, we'll take a look there, and the Meike definitely has more detail. You can really tell that it's wet, that you can see the juice on the surface. Things like this have so much more detail right here compared to the Sony. And if we go up here, like I was saying before, look at the difference in sharpness and detail here. This is so detailed and sharp compared to this, which is very, very blurry. Same with this leaf here. This one is nice and sharp. This one kind of is starting to blend in a bit. These leaves are a bit of a different angle, but so here, take a look at this. So these guys here compared to these here on the Sony. So the Meike is pretty much, I would be willing to say, sharper in every instance except this. I'm wondering if that's just due to it sticking out farther in that picture or the angle I had on it. But yeah, all throughout, this is that's pretty similar actually down there. But here, this is so much sharper. You can see the ridges. This looks like it could almost be flat. Yeah. Look at this one here compared to this. That is just like a huge difference. Yeah. So this one, definitely the Meike is the winner. The image also just, it looks more lifelike. It's got all this additional detail, and it really looks like it's 3D in comparison to this one. Though this one does look good, this one looks far better. Okay, so on this next one, I've taken a picture of a tree outside of my house, and on the left again is the Meike 25mm at f4.5, and the Sony on the right at 25mm f4.5. They were taken seconds after each other. So let's take a look. So first things first, it looks like there's a little more detail in the Sony up in this corner. I think all the corners look like maybe the Sony does a bit better. Let's look at the details of the leaves. Pretty comparable. The branch is certainly the Meike. The Meike is so much sharper. Look at the detail that you can see that you can't. The leaves too, now that I'm getting in there. The Meike really picks them up. Wow. Look at the difference. That is unreal. Holy. Look at the cracks. You can see that they're deep. Here on the Sony, they almost just like look like scratches. This looks 3D, like you could reach out and touch it almost. The leaves too. Look at how blurred they are on the Sony compared to the Meike, where they're 3D and they have texture. You can, looks like you could go and touch it. All these leaves actually. The branches, look at how you can differentiate. They don't just blend in. You can differentiate that that's a separate branch. This looks like this is attached. Look at those leaves. That is crazy. I'm actually kind of shocked. Like, I didn't think it was gonna be that big of a difference. These leaves, all these leaves are blurred in the Sony. Meanwhile, they are completely 3D and lifelike on the Meike. Look how this one looks 3D. You can see the different layers of the background, midground, foreground. This just looks like background, midground are mixed. And this one's a tiny bit more foreground. Overall, look at the difference. That is just unreal. The colors too actually are a little bit more vibrant, a little more lifelike on the Meike lens. It's by no means a professional lens. It's cheap. So you have to understand that there are going to be some areas where you may not get the highest quality. One of those is the focus. There's no autofocus. Now the manual focus is nice and it's high quality, don't get me wrong. But it's not optimal for a lot of situations. The aperture rings are smooth and responsive. The focusing ring is smooth and responsive. I don't see anything wrong with using this lens. I use it for my talking heads and most of my B-roll right now. I'm on a budget and this thing fit perfectly. Now if we compare it to the kit lens begins at a 16mm focal length and ends at a 50mm focal length. Now it sounds like it would be great, you know, you can change your focal length, but the thing is that the lowest aperture that this can go is 3.5. So you're not going to get much separation from your background. And at 50mm, it's actually 5.6, which is not really ideal for trying to have that separation. The Meike lens has a really nice weight to it. It comes with a front cap as well as a back cap. It also comes with a small carrying bag for it and a couple of microfiber cloths. I did notice that the fit was a little tight on my camera, which kind of gave me a bit of a heart attack for a moment, but I found that there's no issues. It doesn't cause any damage. It's just fine. And it's actually nice that it's nice and secure. I will leave a link in the description to where you can buy this lens. I highly recommend it if you're looking for something with a really nice wide aperture where you can really get that background separation. I honestly think they'd be really good for live streaming or for YouTube videos. I mean, I'm using it and I'm super happy with the change in quality. It really gives me that separation, which is what I was really, really looking for. So all in all, it's such a cool little lens. It's not professional, but it does the job and it has upped my YouTube quality so much. Like, it's just looking back at my other videos where there's none of that background separation. It's like night and day, honestly. And as we saw, it compares and beats the kit lens in most situations, other than the autofocus situations. But with a steady hand, you can still do some nice focusing. And yeah, I can't recommend this enough for $100 or less. It's just so cool. And go get yours today. Come on. Have a good one, guys.